This is the Nitecore UM4. It's supposed to be quite a good charger. It's quite well regarded. Well, certainly the Nitecore brand is. So they seem to be the top end of chargers from what I've found out. So I bought an official one from Nitecore themselves, the distributor. So it's got the validation. And now I knew there were going to be a few shortcomings, which we'll have a look at. This is not really a review, just a quick couple of points. These are all of the different batteries that it can charge. But there's been an issue with AAA and AA batteries, which I've been using. So it's a bit of a shame, and it's likely to go back. There's also an issue with this one as well. So let's take a look inside the box. Now I knew there was going to be a few features which this charger doesn't have compared to some. So it doesn't discharge your batteries to fully do a refresh charge from zero, and it also doesn't do a test to tell you what your capacities are, which is a bit of a shame, but I did know that in advance. This is all you get, just a cable, and notice it's a USB cable, not a mains plug. Get a manual. So here it is. Whip that off. Now, one of the kind of bits of feedback on this one is it uses micro USB, and that's the power input socket there. So it's a bit of a shame that it's 2024 and we're not using USB-C for this one. So that's always a little bit of a weak point, I think, over time, especially if you have lots of insertions and disconnects. But apart from that, it's quite a nice unit. It's got really nice plastics, and the buttons, very positive but quite clicky. But when I first powered this on, I noticed a bit of an issue, which is actually why this one's going to go back. So I'm going to plug this into a power bank, because you can do that. It's got plenty of juice. Okay, there we go. Now, I don't know if you can make out, but this screen here, it's slightly dropped. So on this side, you can actually see more of the white bezel down here. So that's a bit of a shame. I'm not sure if you can make that out, but yeah, it's almost like the screen is not fully aligned in there. So that's a bit disappointing. It was about £30 plus the postage, so that looks a bit naff. And the second issue is if you're putting in AA batteries or AAA, they're not very secure in here at all. If you gently knock this, they actually disconnect and it starts the charging process over again. Now the issue is because there's only quite a short dimple here, which will connect on the negative side of the battery of that cell. That really should go all the way to the bottom, because when you have a cell in, I don't know if you can make that out, but that battery is not actually connecting properly. I've made it slightly better by bending these out a bit. Just being very careful, but bending these metal end stops, just bending them out a little bit, which has helped, but yeah, it's not perfect. Now you can lift them up a bit so that you have your stop touching the back, and then the positive is okay. But it's not perfect. It is designed probably for the bigger ones, such as the 18650s and on, but that's just what it is, I guess. So you will notice if you knock this, or you can be just touching it gently, it could reset. You can even see that's just reset the counter now. So yeah, sometimes it just resets. It is good for 18650s, that's fine. But if you go and cycle through these modes here, it's supposed to give you the resistance value of the battery to tell you rough health, but you can take that with a pinch of salt, because every time I change a different slot, it could be different. So it wildly varies. And these are known good batteries which hold a lot of charge, but it still rates them as poor. So yeah, what can you do? So take that with a pinch of salt. And this is a mega old battery, and I think it says that one's good. Yeah, look at that. For that battery is, it's years old. But there we go. Take with a pinch of salt. Now, the other issue I've noticed, which is why this is going back, is AAAs. They have been recognised, in fact, and actually AA, they've actually been recognised as a lithium ion battery. Now, I don't think I can replicate it at the moment, but what I've noticed is occasionally when I put these in, it actually recognises them as a lithium battery, which isn't good. So it comes up with the lithium ion indicator here, and of course then it charges them at 4.2 volts. So I'll flash up a screenshot of me capturing that. Now, I think what they did mention on the email was that most customers will use this for lithium ion or IMR batteries, which is all very well, but they do state they can take NiCads or nickel and nickel hydride batteries, so if that's on there they should be able to cope with those. So why it was detecting it as a lithium ion, who knows. It does have a quick charge mode, provided you've got the adapter, the mains adapter to give that voltage and current. So yeah, you can go up to a fair bit, 1500 milliamp hours, so not bad. And that's what the display will show you, all the different various bits. Yeah, it's quite nice that you can travel and charge, or you can just plug that into a phone charger, but it's a bit of a shame that it's micro USB and not USB-C. The cable itself is good quality, that's quite nice, fairly thick, so that's okay. Manual is quite a limited affair, and as you'd expect, quite tiny font, but it gives you what you need. So there's a few other long and short presses you can get into different modes, but generally there's not a lot in there. Supposed to have all automatic charging, so it keeps the batteries in a good temperature, doesn't overheat them and doesn't overcharge them, etc., which you'd expect anyway for this price point. By the way, I'm actually comparing it with this one here, which was similar price, maybe a bit less. Yushiko YC4000. It's based on the Technoline BL800, I think it was, and this has actually been a fantastic charger. This one does have the discharge and test functions, as well as charging up to 1000 milliamps. There we go. So it's great to be able to give a bit of a test to them, discharge and then recharge up again. So yeah, this has been very good. So I was expecting better performance from the Nitecore. This one does have mains adapter, so potentially less versatile, but yeah, Nitecore slightly misses the bar for me, I'm afraid. But anyway, you do get your basic display, which is quite nice. Shows you kind of the progress here of this battery, how many milliamp hours have gone in. There's our resistance, and if you cycle through, that's the charge rate as well and the voltage. You can long press this button and you can change the charge rate, so you can increase that if you want to, or you can bring it down a little bit, but it doesn't remember that. As soon as you reinsert the battery or power off, it goes back to the standard 500 milliamps for these. And that's really about it. There isn't a lot more you can fiddle with that's going to be any use to you. There's no discharge function, sadly. So at 500 it's pretty slow by default to charge, so I've noticed that I've had to actually increase that, which means you have to press a lot more buttons just to get that charging rate up if you want to be quick. So all in all, I'm a bit disappointed. It's okay, but it's good hype on their website, lots of sales pictures, and it's supposed to give you all this guff about these vents, but to be honest, it's plastic, so how much dissipation of heat is it going to give you? Not a lot. The only good bit is possibly here. They're quite deep vents, but they don't lead anywhere inside. It's just, I think that's predominantly looks. So yeah, I'm glad in a way that I'm able to return this and get my money back, because it's not amazing for the price. It's okay, and like I say, because these cells have come up and been recognised as lithium ions a couple of times now, 3 times, I don't really want to trust that. And of course we've got this little display issue here, which has dropped down a bit, so that isn't particularly good. QC not amazing, but yeah, that's the Nitecore UM4. So not going to be a recommend for me. This one's going to be sent back. Thankfully Nitecore themselves were pretty good. They answered the email within 24 hours. So they've happily sent me a return postage label to send it back. But yeah, bye bye Nitecore.